Hey music maker, hope you're having a great day out there, and on today's quick production tip, we're going to turn drums that sound like this into drums that sound like this with just one plugin, Scheps Parallel Particles. Let's jump in. Hey, so one of the best techniques that I've found in mixing to really help bring the level of the recording quality, the clarity, the punch, and all of the stuff that we want up to a whole new level is parallel compression. And if you don't know what parallel compression is, basically it's creating a send, a bus, or an aux, depending on which DAW you're in, creating a super compressed copy and then blending it in with your dry, unaffected signal. Because we all love what compression sounds like, the saturation, what it does, but sometimes it becomes too much. So by creating a copy and sending through a heavily compressed signal, blending it in with a dry signal, it gets the best of both worlds. You maintain the clarity and the dynamics of your original file, but also all the good stuff that comes with a super heavily compressed file. There's a bunch of ways to do this. I'm going to show you how you can use parallel compression in a traditional sense, but what I really want to focus on is a plugin from Waves called Scheps Parallel Particles that takes the parallel compression and makes it super easy. One plugin, 4 different layers of blend, and it makes everything sound great like I showed you in the example. So let's jump into Logic so I can show you how to use parallel compression, especially with Scheps Parallel Particles in your sessions today. Okay, so now that we're here in Logic, I wanted to show you how easy it is to create huge sounding drums using the parallel compression technique, first in the more traditional way, and second using parallel particles from Andrew Scheps. So first let me play this track in context. So kind of a cinematic hip-hop vibe I'm working on for some sync opportunities. So the first thing we want to do is solo up these drums and kind of hear what they sound like by themselves. So a lot of huge kick sounds and claps, and this is just the ending of the song, so there's a lot going on. So to create a parallel compression, first thing we want to do is go down here, create a new bus. We'll just pick one I haven't used. I've already created one for this, but we'll make a new one so we can see how it goes together. So first I'm going to do is set this to 0, then go down here and just call it drum comp. Then I'll go up here and just pick a compressor. You can use really any kind of compressor that you like. I'll just use a real simple one. We'll use Waves CLA 2A. Okay, and then so when you're setting up parallel compression, you really want to actually over-exaggerate. So there's actually a really great preset that I'll start with here, vocals. So let's play back with this on now. We want to really compress it hard. So it's obviously really smashed. We'll add some more volume. So obviously if this is by itself on the track, it's going to be way overpowering. So let me play that right. So then what we do is we come down here to our slider on our bus. So then we hear it normally. And then we're just going to boost this to taste to bring in some of that compressed signal. Context. So you can actually add all kinds of things. You can add saturation, additional things. You can create all kinds of sends to do this. But in this case, I just want to kind of show how to set it up. That's a really quick and easy way to do it. But I want to show you an even easier way with much more flexibility by using the Scheps Parallel Particle plugin. So I'm going to go over here to my channel strip and add a new instance right here, stereo. So as you can see, the plugin is super simple and really cool looking. It looks like it belongs in the Matrix, which I'm sure that was somewhat of the design. Parallel particles sound very futuristic. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your signal going in is showing up here in the yellow. That's the indicator of how much signal is coming in. So my drums are super hot, so I know I'm going to have to bring it down. So we'll get it till it's consistently yellow. So I watched a video with Andrew Scheps talking about this plugin, and he said you want it to be yellow as you can, because that means you're sending in a good signal and you'll get the maximum amount of effect. So that seems to be about right. So now the first thing, there's just 4 dials here. There's the low end, there's the top end, there's the thickness, and there's the bite. So the way I look at these is these two, thickness and bite, are kind of like compressors, like a multi-band compressor. Obviously top end or air is the brightness, and then the sub is the kick. So first thing I want to do is go over here to the thickness, and let's thicken this up. And as you can see, the more I dial this in, the wider this gets over here as an indicator. So it feels really... So let's just A-B it. We'll turn it off. See, so much of that body goes away, and we'll bring it back. It makes it really big. So we'll go over here to the bite, where we're going to get some more mid-range, some more aggression, some more bite, obviously, as the title shows. So let's take it way up. So it really opens it up. And again, it indicates how much you have by this. It's kind of letting it into the middle of the core. So let's A-B both of these off and on without. There is more volume, of course, but there's also a lot more than just volume happening. Cool, so now let's go down to the sub here. The only difference between the sub and all the other dials is you can actually dial in the frequency. So I'm going to dial this up way too much, and then we're going to bring this bottom slider over just to make sure we're in the right frequency. Sounds really good. So the drums just sound big. Turn it off. Last but not least, the air. This is all the top end, the sparkle. So this is where you can get some really full sounds. Now that we've got kind of all the spectrums, we've got the thickness, we've got the bite, we've got the sub, and now the air. So obviously that's really dialing that in. Cool. And then all together off. Very different sound. Bring it in. So as you can hear, it's making a huge difference with just 4 knobs. It's not just a volume thing, but in context with the mix now, I'll dial this back. And then we'll turn it off. So it's just full and saturated and massive. So that's just the drums by themselves. So what I wanted to do here is go to kind of an 808 pattern I had right underneath and do the same thing and add the plugin on and show you how much we can actually do, because there's really almost nothing on this kick. So we'll play it by itself here. Make sure we're in our legal limit. Looks to be fine there. So let's bring up a little bit this. So there's just more fullness. Let's bring in some of the more top end, a little bit more of the mid-range here. And this is where it's really going to shine down here at the low end, because there's so much low end on this kick. Cool, and then we'll even see if top end does anything for us here. So let's solo this 808 along with the drums here. We lose the presence and the kick overall. Bring it back in. And then in the whole mix. Great. Now I want to do the same thing with just one more area just to kind of show how much this can really do. And let's do this string part. Very intense. So let's add Scheps Particles here. Make sure our input volume's right. Looks like it's a little hot. Okay, so let's give us more body. Some more bite. notice the string noise. If you have your headphones on, there's this, you can really hear the bow attack on the strings as I start to dial in this bite. So let's start that at 0 again. Let's try this low end, see what we can get out of it. There's definitely some cello happening, so. And the air. If you want to, like I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dial back the output a little bit. Without. See, it just sounds dull. It sounds, I know it's a little volume change, but dull and distant. So soloed. Dull and kind of distant. And then bring it back in. This really brings it so much life and so much more interest in just a couple of tweaks of these 4 knobs all built into this one plugin. So now let's listen to it all kind of with Scheps on. It just brings so much life and excitement to the overall mix. Like I showed you, just adding a little bit of parallel compression can make a huge difference. And you can do the traditional way where you add a compressor and you can dial in the EQ. And of course, that totally works and has been the tried and true way. But with the Scheps Parallel Particles, there's so much thought built into each one of those knobs that there's so much going on. To recreate that, it would take a lot of energy and effort and trial and error to try to figure out exactly what they're doing. So they've done the work for us, so might as well benefit from it. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to up your mixing game, your recording, your productions at all, and we didn't actually go over it here, but you can put Parallel Particles on your master bus and just do some light fine tuning. You can really bring out a whole new level and depth to your mixes. So if that makes sense, if you have any questions at all, definitely leave a comment below. So if you're interested in picking up this plugin for yourself, click the link below. Give you direct access to the Wave store. So many great plugins, as I've talked about a ton here, but I really wanted to highlight this one because it's been one of the newest ones that I've been diving into and been loving it so much because how quick, easy, and powerful it is. So before we go, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, now go make some music, and we will see you on the next video.